Hey, Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. It is so awesome to be back with you. Well, welcome to our Saturday program. Today is Saturday, and we call this Spiritualist Saturday. As many of you know, I am a full-time psychic medium, and a lot of people say, how did you become a psychic medium? Well, I came out of the Spiritualist Church. A Spiritualist Church is a part of the religion of spiritualism. And basically, the Spiritualist Church is a church of psychics, people who believe in life after death, who believe in mediumship, meaning we can communicate with the other side. And in a nutshell, that's what spiritualism is. But so many of you have been saying, I want to learn the religion of spiritualism. There's no spiritualist church near where I live. Can I be a spiritualist without going to a spiritualist church? And the answer is absolutely yes. So this Saturday class is just to introduce you to the concepts of spiritualism so you can begin to practice on your own if you're so inclined. Now, many of you are going to say, well, I thought you were a Wiccan. Yes, I'm actually a Wiccan, but I'm also a spiritualist. I practice both religions because in my mind, they work together, you know. Many of the old witches practiced spirit communication. They were spiritualists as well as Wiccans and witches. So I don't know. I think it all works out. But right now we're doing a study of Sylvia Browne's book, Mystical Traveler. And we've been doing a read through, and a lot of you have been saying, Psychic Bob, I think I'm being called to spirit. Oops, I hit the off button. Anyways, as I said, many of you have been writing to me saying, Psychic Bob, I think I'm being called by the Spirit. I'm being called to spiritual work. Could it really be true? Am I being called? And the answer is, if you think you're hearing the call, you probably are. And that means you're becoming a mystical traveler, as it says here on the book. And a mystical traveler is somebody who gives their whole life to God's service. I'm a mystical traveler. I became a mystical traveler about 10 years ago now. Actually, 11 years. It was in 2007, 2008. Around 2008, I became a mystical traveler. And I've never looked back. You know, at that time, I left my corporate job and I gave my whole life to service the Spirit. As those of you who know me outside of YouTube, you know that I literally do this all day long. I do private readings, I do classes, I write books, I do spiritual teaching, I do TV and radio shows, and I live my life to teach the truths of Spirit. So this book will help you if you want to get on the path. So we're going to continue reading. We're in chapter 4, the chapter called Dogma, Dharma, and Karma. And we're on page 51. If you have this book, you can follow along. And we're starting at the page here on page 51, Fear and Misconception, midway down the page. So let's see what Sylvia has to say. She writes, oh, hold on, I got to put on my glasses here. Where are my glasses here? Some days, I tell you, if I didn't have my head screwed on right, I'd have lost it too. Okay. Fear and misconceptions. The whole concept of seeking spirituality is a calling, in a sense. We see so many people who have answered that calling by becoming priests, preachers, monks, and nuns, while others do volunteer work, protest against injustice, or contribute to various charities. Most are successful and are to be commended, but for some others, their activities are just covering up hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a subject that Jesus talked about at length, and it's one of the greatest traps we'll encounter in life. If we think about it, we'll see that our whole society is saddled with it in many ways. Religion is particularly full of hypocrisy, especially when it's taken to its extremes. When it's taken to, oops, I just lost my spot. For example, it preaches, love thy neighbor, and then instigates wars and terrorism. The Catholic Church admits to its many atrocities, yet apologizes with little fanfare. But then it turns around and says that the Pope is infallible. The Catholic and Protestant faiths preach against homosexuality and sinful, and that's in quotes, sinful sexual practices, spouting bigotry and instigating hate crimes, only to be party to all sorts of scandals involving pastors, preachers, and priests that are sexual in nature. As Rodney King so famously asked, can't we all get along? Organized religion has one basic and big problem. It has gathered so much human-made dogma that it's trapped itself within its own rules and regulations. Instead of putting out God's word in a simple manner, the leaders complicate it with what they feel is decent human behavior, and the pieces often don't fit or end up causing more problems than they solve. I am constantly amazed how many people listen to and even blindly follow those who are supposedly in the service of God, yet only sermonize about hellfire and brimstone. You know the type, the evangelistic and ultra-conservative preachers who are always hammering away about a wrathful, vengeful, and punishing God who is going to send you to everlasting damnation unless you follow what they say. These tend to be men, although there are some women too, who regularly stress fear in order to keep their flocks under their control and contributing to their coffers. Satan or the devil is seemingly in every other sentence, and demons that possess or cause us to go astray are continually being brought up. Doesn't anyone think logically or clearly when they are part of these congregations? Ooh, I'm going to stop there. That's a lot in there. That's taken from Sylvia, a mystical traveler. You know, I have to agree with Sylvia. You know, so many churches, particularly, and I'm just going to be straight up, in the Christian religion, make it so hard. They tell you all this stuff. You have to give 10% to the church. You have to go to confession twice a month. You have to do this and this and this and this. And do they really make the people closer to God, or do they bind them? You know, in the religion of spiritualism, by the way, spiritualism is an organized religion, and I'm not going to lie, many spiritualist churches have their hypocrisy as well. That's one reason why I actually formally left the spiritualist church. I am a spiritualist, but I'm independent. I'm no longer part of the structured church because I just didn't like all the fanaticism and rules and the politics. But spiritualism teaches principles of spiritual growth. So, as I say, you might leave an organized religion, but you don't have to leave spiritual truth and principles. Oh, by the way, on a side note, I got to show you my new jewelry. You know, guys, I'm always buying some piece of little trinket of jewelry. Well, I found another blue cross. I had a tiny little blue cross, but I've lost it somewhere. And I found recently on eBay another blue cross. It's a larger one, but I think it's beautiful. It's made out of like stainless steel, I think, or aluminum. It's lightweight. But for those of you who are interested in sacred symbols, in the spiritualist movement, it is one of the traditional symbols of spiritualism to wear the blue cross. Blue is a symbol of hope in the spirit world, and the cross represents the intermeeting of the human world and the spirit world. Now, some spiritualists are Christian and love Jesus. I came from a background that was more spiritualist, Christian originally. And so the cross can also be the traditional Christian symbol for those of you who are Christian spiritualists. So you don't have to be a Christian spiritualist to wear the blue cross, but it is a symbol traditionally used in spiritualism. So I'm wearing my blue cross today for Christian spiritualism. But like Sylvia was saying here, there's so much hypocrisy. And you know, I have to show you something here. I was reading a seance recently, and they had a spirit come over, and he said many people on earth get hung up in all this craziness. And he said, really, all you have to do is follow the master's way. And he was talking about Jesus. And this is a very famous picture of Jesus by Warner Sallman. Many of you have probably seen this, but I got this a few years ago. I think it was at a yard sale. I didn't pay much for it. And I thought, boy, these people are letting this beautiful picture go for like $1. But it's on real wood. It's shellacked, so it's waterproof, and it's just beautiful. This dates from the 1970s. And in the Spiritualist church, when I was in the Spiritualist church, they had a similar picture like this of Jesus in the church. And in spiritualism, for those of you who come from a Christian background, you say, well, Bob, can I still be a Christian and a spiritualist? Absolutely. Many spiritualists are Christian. Now, within the religion, there are kind of different branches. There's the non-Christian spiritualists that have a more general belief just in God. And then there are those who also follow Jesus. So Jesus is part of spiritualism. And because I'm a spiritualist and I grew up loving Jesus, I still love Jesus. And, in the Spiritualist church, they call Jesus the master medium. Many in the New Age call him an ascended master, the great teacher. And I think that Jesus's teachings really are profound and for anybody. And, Jesus said, keep it simple. Love God and love your neighbor. It's really what it comes down to. So Jesus taught us, love God with all our heart and soul and mind. Love our neighbor as ourselves. And I think if you follow that, you're doing real spirituality, true religion. And so like Sylvia says, all these churches scare people. And if you're in a church or you go to a church on Sunday, ask yourself this. Do you come out after Sunday service feeling uplifted? Or do you come out feeling anxious and depressed? Because I know I've been to many churches, not in the spiritualist movement, thank goodness, but in other churches where I come out thinking, gosh, I'm just on my way to hell in 5 seconds, Even if you've been a good person, lived your life perfectly, they make you feel doubting of that. And I think if you're saying, well, what is spiritual truth? Just think about Jesus. Love God, love your neighbor. Sylvia Browne, who wrote this book also she summed it up a little better than I did. She said, it's real simple. Love God, love your neighbor, do some good in the world while you're here. And at the end of your life, when it's all done, just shut up and go home. I love that. She said that. And I think she's right. So anyways, I'm going to share this beautiful picture of Jesus. If you're, embarking on the religion of spiritualism, and maybe you don't have a church, you can just make your own spiritualist altar. Just get a little table, put a cloth on it that you like. It could be a white cloth. It doesn't have to be any color that's spiritual to you. Blue is very big in spiritualism. Find a lovely picture of Jesus, the master medium, and just honor his teaching. And, study the spiritualist manuals. Study books by various psychics that are spiritualists. And that's how you start your practice. So don't buy into all that fear-mongering and that trauma. It's real simple. Keep it simple, okay? KISS, keep it simple, special one. All right? So I had to share this because I just love this picture. Have you guys seen this picture of Jesus? I love it. It really captures who he was and his, really. So if you are looking for this picture, you can look online. They may have pictures of it. You can get an image search. Just look up Warner Sallman, or just S-A-L-L-M-A-N, Sallman, Head of Christ. That's the name of this, the Head of Christ. By Warner is his first name, W-A-R-N-E-R, Sallman, S-A-L-L-M-A-N, Sallman, Head of Christ. And you'll see this, you'll find this picture. And you can print it out, or if you go on eBay, they sell them, you can buy them as well. Okay, so I think that's a great picture. That was very much used in my spiritualist church, and I love it. And, if you want to wear a sacred symbol, maybe you're not Wiccan, but you just want to be spiritualist, you might want to think about a blue cross, symbol of spiritualism. The other symbol of spiritualism is a sunflower, and we'll do another whole video. I think next week we'll talk about the sunflower in detail, but I want to share these thoughts with you and, share these thoughts. So like Sylvia said, don't be giving into that fear. And, I really feel that a lot of churches are almost cult-like these days, and that's why I tell people, you don't have to do something because I said it. Do what you want to do for you. You know in your heart what God says. So don't let anybody sway you, not even me, okay? And Sylvia said it best. She said, take what you want and leave the rest behind. Don't let religion control you. Let it enrich you. Okay? So anyways, that's my thoughts. Anyways, I'm losing my voice here. It's become really hot here where I am. And I was out walking today. I went to Home Depot and bought some new light bulbs. My light blew out here and I got new light bulbs. So anyways, I've been out in the heat and I'm a little parched. But I'm glad you're here. And what we're going to do now, we're going to have our seance. And for those of you who are new here, this is part of our Saturday tradition. Just gather around here. I'm going to go into a trance state. And that's spelled T-R-A-N-C, or is it C that way? C-E, trance. And that means I'm a channel, I'm a medium. And what happens is I go into a trance state and spirits overshadow me and they use my body temporarily to speak to you. Now, it is not possession, because somebody wrote me in a panic, said, oh my God, Bob, aren't you getting possessed by those spirits? No, no, no. My spirit guides and I have a closeness, a friendship, and understanding. So I lend them my physical body to use as a vehicle to come and speak. So it's not me talking. I don't even know what comes through me until I watch the video later. But they come through me and bring their messages. So gather your chairs around here. If you were actually in my home here with me, which really in a sense you are, I'd put you in a little circle of chairs here around me. And let's have a seance. I'm going to bring down the lights and I'll be back here in just a minute. Okay, so hang with us. Okay, I have the lights dimmed. I like to channel in a softer light. That's just me. Every medium's different. Some mediums go on stage with bright spotlights and go into trance. If I can, I prefer a dimmer lighting. So anyways, I'm glad you're here, and I'm going to settle down, so I'll see you when I get back. Okay. Oh, there we go. This is Fletcher. I think I'm in the body here. Oh, so good to be back with all of you. Our medium, he's being so generous by loaning his body to us so that we can come through and speak. Someday there's going to be a device on the earth where we'll be able to talk through directly. I know that you got the ghost box now, but this will be even clearer, like a fine-tuned radio station. And there are people even now upon the earth working on it. And when that comes through, well, it'll be a lot easier for all of us. We see in the future a radio-like device with different channels, and it'll have broadcasts from those of us in the spirit world. And eventually we'll have video too, so that you can be seeing what it's like over here. But for now, the two worlds are separate. And don't be worrying, because we're not far away. We got a few other people here to be wanting to speak into you, so I'll be stepping from our medium's body. This is Fletcher, over and out. Good afternoon. My name is Alfred. It gives me great joy to be able to come here and speak with each of you. Many people on the earth think that when a person dies that they are gone, no longer to be seen. Yet I come to bear witness of the fact that life is eternal. Many people on the earth have a fear of coming to the spirit world. They think that death is either oblivion, or that they will enter into some hellacious hellfire where they will suffer for eternity. For some who die, they enter into that place of darkness, for we do not force anybody to accept our reality. If you are a disbeliever, if you are an atheist, if you have no concept of the soul, you will enter into a temporary darkness, a deep sleep. This will give you rest and relaxation. And eventually you are awakened from your slumber, and slowly brought into the light. Many who find themselves in this position think that they've been dreaming and they think they're back upon the earth. It takes us for some a long time to convince them that they are in the spirit world. Others come over here to the spirit world in great joy with a greeting party, great honor and glory. These are the souls who have devoted their life to spiritual knowledge, to light and truth, to service to humanity. They who have a concept of the other life, of another world, they are greeted by that new world and find their transition most joyful. It is celebratory, in fact, parades and bands and grand affairs. There are others who come to the spirit world, finding themselves walking through a most beautiful meadow or standing on a cliff overlooking the most scenic of mountain ranges. These are the souls who are the deep contemplatives, for whom death opens the mystery of vistas of other realities. These are the souls who do not wish to have great fanfare, nor do they wish to have soul slumber. These are the souls who gradually walk into the light. And so their transition to our world is most simple and gentle. Know that however one comes to the spirit world, it will be a wonderful experience. Now, I must say, though, that there are those who do not always have the most beautiful of entrances. You know, we have the saying here, as above, so below, as below, so above. For those souls, such as I was, who have degraded themselves on the earth, who have shut out spiritual light, they will awaken to a place in the purgatorial realms. It is usually a place of darkness and loneliness. Sometimes those souls will encounter others there who are like themselves, but very seldom will true friendship be found in the purgatorial realms, for each soul must work out its selfishness, and friendship cannot be made by souls who are not ready to love. In time, the souls progress closer to the light. In the realms of darkness, there are realms that are far away, and some that are even hell-like. But the hell that people experience is of their own making, their own mind's projections, their own fears, their own loathings and hatreds. This is why we of the spirit world encourage you. Work out with fear and trembling your own salvation. And what we mean is that you must let go of your fear, face it, confront it, and release it. And as you do that, you move closer to the light. You will choose which realm you find in the spirit world upon your death. And this is why we encourage each of you. Choose a careful path. Love God. Love your neighbor. As you'd heard our medium speak these words earlier. These are true words. I can say that there are many here who have seen the Christ face to face. He does govern the spirit world and is a great teacher. You are not forced into the presence of the Christ if you are not ready for it, for his light is immense and blinding, and those who are more attached to the earthly life and the earthly things would find his presence almost painful. Do not think that the Lord Jesus Christ turns anyone away. He embraces all, but your heart must be open to receive him. Some of you will say, but Alfred, I am not a Christian. I do not believe in the Christ. Try to understand, my dears, that over here, it is not about belief. It is about simply what is in terms of vibrational frequency. The Christ is the most exalted of all creatures. He is truly divinity in it of itself. And it is not an issue of belief. He governs the realm of spirit. And you say, well, I am of this religion or that religion. Understand that over here you may have your religion, but your religion is only a small facet of the greater spiritual truth. As I have mentioned to you in previous visits, God here is known as infinite intelligence, the Father of all light. The Father of the Christ is infinite intelligence. The Christ is an emanation of infinite intelligence and works in harmony. When Jesus said during his earthly sojourn, he said, "I and the Father are one," he spoke truth. They are one purpose, in harmony, in will, and in divine energies. Their vibrations are perfectly matched. We of the spirit world hope to move closer to that vibration, and even so there are opportunities here to grow in frequency, to be like the Christ, to be like infinite intelligence. And so there are worlds upon worlds here, when people can connect and learn and grow. You're not limited in your knowledge or your chance for growth as you are on the earth. In the earth plane, progress is often challenged and slow, and often governed by circumstance and such things as the ability to have access to books and knowledge and teachings, the financial constraints that limit one's ability to travel and to see and to learn. Here there are no such constraints, and so you are able to interact with the great ascended ones, to learn from them and to grow to be like them. Fletcher says there are others who wish to speak, so I must be stepping from the body. My name is Alfred. Oh, give us just a moment. We've got to adjust the medium's vibration. I think old Lady Rose wants to come in and speak to you all. Greetings, my dear Rose. Oh, I tell you, when I listen to Alfred teaching, I'm so inspired. It's much more exciting than my Church of England days. I could not help but listen to our medium when he was reading from that most fascinating book. You see, it is true that many of the world's peoples are entrapped in religion and hypocrisy. They have not yet mastered the teachings of Jesus, which are very simple. And the medium summed it up nicely, and so did Alfred. Love God and love your neighbor. The great Master Christ has said this to us here, and I have had the privilege of hearing from him directly. Do not fear the Christ. He is the light of good, the light of light, the light of life. And those who hear his words glow brightly here. If you are of a different faith and say, I do not relate to the Christ, as Alfred has said, do not fear. In time you will come to know him. You must avoid being hung up on definitions of this religion is good and that is bad. Ask yourself, does my religion encourage me to love? Love is the key to life in the spirit world. When I first came here, like Alfred, I was not in the best of conditions. For I had spent my earthly life not loving, but seeking to impress and control and have power. Those things are of the world and empty ultimately. Oh, it's not that one can't do well in life, one should. But you see, I forgot the key ingredient to do all things in love. I did things out of vanity, out of show. And what did it get me? Not very far, I can tell you. So love God, however you define that, and love your neighbor. I think we can understand loving the neighbor. And especially when we have those challenging neighbors, then we most especially try to love. But know that you do not walk alone in your journey. We, the spirit world, wish to help you. We shall guide you. Call upon us. Say, Rose, will you come and help me? And I shall be there with you. You may call upon Fletcher or Alfred and say, Fletcher, Alfred, I don't know how to love my neighbor. Will you give me a little encouragement today? And we of the spirit world will come, and we will bring you light and love and life, and we will help you on your journey. Remember that your time on earth is not necessarily meant to be spent all in tears and suffering and depression. Oh, it is true there are challenges in this life, But the greatest challenge is to learn to live in love, and this will ultimately bring you to joy. Fletcher says our medium's power is starting to wane, so I shall not tax him any longer. But I do thank you for allowing me to come and visit with you, and I do hope you will call upon me in the coming days. You may know me by my name of Rose, and so please reach out, call me, and I will come. If you have another spirit guide, and you wish to still speak to me, your guide will not mind. All of us over here know each other, and so call me and I will help you even to connect to your own guide. You know, in my earthly life I was quite the socialite, and I still enjoy putting people together here. Well, the power's starting to fade, and I feel myself going with it. But I send each of you my kind greetings, and I thank you for receiving me today. And I look forward to being back with each of you. So do please call me. Well, Tubies, thank you for being here today. I've had such a good time. You know, whenever I channel and the spirits come through, it really uplifts me. It strengthens me and it brings me joy and a real sense of connection with the other side. I hope that this has been your experience today. Listen, if you want to work on your spiritual life, you might want to pop over to my website at PsychicBob.com and pick up my books. This book particularly I think you would enjoy, Messages from Rose. It's about my work as a trance channel with my spirit guide Rose. I also have other books over there that I've published. Psychic Bob's Book of Wiccan Wisdom, Psychic Bob's Book of Spells, Ouija Mysteries, the Spirit Board Seances. All of these and more over at my website, and the link will be below, www.PsychicBob.com. Go there and check it out. And while you're there, if you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, I know a lot of you have been calling. We're trying to get back to y'all. I still have openings for this upcoming week for private readings. I'm booked through the weekend, but starting next Monday or Tuesday, I think next Tuesday, I have openings. So give me a call, 703-825-3929. We'll get you on the schedule. So I look forward to hearing from you. Guys, thanks for being here. Listen, keep it here at Spirit Channel. You know, we always got more coming. Tomorrow night, be back here at 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Live broadcast, The Witching Hour. So we want to see you back here. We're going to talk about all things magical and Wiccan. So make sure to come out and see that. In the meantime, guys, thank you for being here. I love you guys. Thank you so very much for your support. And I look forward to hearing from you. So do give me a call. The easiest way to reach me is my office for a private reading. 703-825-3929 is my phone number. Put that in your cell phone. Just keep it with you. You might need it one day. And call me and get on my schedule. You can also write to me at my brand new email, which is, and that will be below also, PsychicBobHickman@gmail.com. So I look forward to hearing from all of you. You guys are the best. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow for the Witching Hour. Until then, may you all always blessed